NFC East could actually come down to the 5th tiebreaker, which is strength of victory, and you can't even tabulate that yet. Niners, they clinched the NFC West last week, but they could nail down the 1 seed and the bye with a win Monday night and losses by Dallas, Philly, and Detroit. As for the AFC playoffs, you better write that in pencil instead of ink. Cincinnati fell out Saturday. Buffalo is in for now. Still thinking about an AFC East crown. This is going to be a whole lot of fun over the last 3 weeks. As for the Ravens, they are already into the playoffs. They can clinch the AFC North with a win on the road Monday night, and if the Browns lose at Houston later today. Now, this Ravens-Niners game is a possible Super Bowl preview. It is definitely a rematch of the Har Bowl, Super Bowl 47. Remember when Jacoby Jones took it 108 back to the crib?
Yep.
Let's go. Even in slow motion, he looked fast.
And the lights went out.
Yeah, there was a blackout. Then the Niners turned on the lights. They got as close as 3, but Baltimore won its 2nd crown ever as the Ravens, 30-31. Last meeting was 4 years ago. It was the 10-1 Niners at the 9-2 Ravens. Raheem Mostert led San Francisco on the ground, a $150 and a score. But with the game tied at 17, Lamar led the Ravens on a drive. How did it end? Of course, Justin Tucker nailed a 49-yarder to win it as time expired. That means we are in for a good one.
There's only one way to play this game, bro. It's a party! Hit these in the mouth from the first snap to the last. Show these boys they don't belong on this field with us. I'm calling you out. What the are you gonna do about it? Let's go! Let's go! Touchdown!
I mean, this is a great, great game, especially when San Francisco has the ball. Top 3 in several offensive categories going against a Baltimore D that leads the NFL in points allowed per game, yards per play, sacks as well. So I'm curious, you know, Mike McDonald has done a great job scheming the defense there in Baltimore. He's going against arguably the game's best play caller in Kyle Shanahan. What does Baltimore have to do defensively to make sure this thing doesn't get out of hand?
It's masterminds. I mean, this is going to be such a great battle, man. You talk about offensively and defensively. Let me tell you something. Brock Purdy, option 1 for Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, MVP candidate. Option 2 for Brock Purdy is Deebo Samuel. You don't even want to give him the ball. Option 3 becomes Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the National Football League. Option 4 is only Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon
Ayuk, excuse me, who would be starting for most teams.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be a #1 receiver in Kansas City right now. That's how these weapons deploy that he has. So you can't give him an opportunity to deploy anything to these weapons. You got to get to Brock Purdy. You got to rough up Brock Purdy right now. That means that defensive line for the Baltimore Ravens, they have to get to Brock Purdy to win this football game. No other way will they be able to slow down that offense. But then I'm also going to need Superman to be Superman, and that's Lamar Jackson doing something great in the end.
Yeah, you said it already. We'll get into this later, but how I believe that they have to slow down this offense starts with option #1, who I believe is the MVP, is Christian McCaffrey. Everything starts with him. When they went on that 3-game loser streak, what they did is they couldn't run the ball, and they got behind the sticks. And it changed the whole dynamic of this offense. Brock Purdy hasn't been great operating off schedule. So what they have to do is focus on Christian McCaffrey, stop this run, get them behind the sticks, and make them have to get back on track. San Fran hasn't played great from behind. So if they can jump on them early, stop the run, put them behind the sticks, and make Brock Purdy win off schedule. He's great when he's on schedule. He finds every open man. You just said he had 4 options. When he can look at all of these great options, 4 different options, and he's comfortable, that's when you win. But it all starts with C-Mac. You have to slow him down early and often, get them off schedule, get them behind the sticks. Then you can jump on them, and most of all, they got to win 3rd down. I think Baltimore is 5th best in the league on third down, they have to win third down.
The fundamentals of football were the same when Jim Thorpe played 100 years ago, and 100 years from now, it'll be the same. It's about blocking and tackling and throwing and catching, those kinds of fundamentals, all right? Now, the Baltimore Ravens have the #1 scoring defense. They're solid. They've been solid over the years, right? And we know the Niners, you mentioned all the weapons that they have with Brock Purdy, who could win the MVP. This guy right here could win the MVP. So you know they're going to be executing with precision. So the fundamental that the Ravens have to bring to this game is tackling. Because if you don't tackle Debo out there on the receiver screen, or McCaffrey or Kittle down the field, the Niners have 6.7 yards after the catch. Way best in the league, all right? So the Geno Stones, he got a lot of interceptions. You better tackle. Kyle Hampton, tackle. Patrick Queen, tackle, right? Roquan Smith, tackle in space. That's going to be the difference if they want to win.
Agreed.
Well, the Niners have been doing that for years. The yards after the catch thing has been unbelievable. So, John, respect taken.
All due respect.
And with that, we welcome you to hour number 3 of NFL Game Day Morning, presented by Lowe's. We know football, Lowe's knows home improvement. Hall of Famer Michael Irvin, the 6-time Pro Bowler Gerald McCoy, Steve Mariucci, I am Chris Rose, Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner. They'll bring you tonight's Patriots-Broncos game on our network. That's why they're not here. Did you like what he said there?
Yeah, smart man. You know, listen, he hadn't done that ever, and he knew there was a need to do it this week. You know why?
Why?
Because they're playing America. And the narrative will get perpetuated and pushed towards these young men all day. So he wanted to clean their computer out of all those viruses.
All right, well, now let's answer the question that's on the screen. Who has more to prove in today's game? Is it Dak and that offense? Is it Tua and that offense?
Yeah, well, I can't say both, right? Even though they're both 10-4 and the second seed in their respective conferences. But I'm going to go with Tua, and the Dolphins have to prove something to me. Hey, they're at home, all right? You got to win these home games, right? They haven't been able to play as well on the road as at home. Well, Miami is playing in their stadium, in their weather. They haven't beat a team that has a winning record. Are you kidding me? This Miami Dolphin team could eventually be the #1 seed in the AFC, and they haven't beaten a team with a winning record. But this next 3-game streak right here, starting with Dallas, then it's at Baltimore, then it's the Bills who put a 40-burger on them later. They got to prove that they can play, Gerald, with the big boys.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that front, but I also have to disagree with them having more to prove today because they are at home. They play great at home. No, they haven't beaten the team with a winning record, but they're 6-1 at home. So I have to go with the Cowboys simply because they are on the road. You know, the Dolphins are comfortable. They're at home. But the Cowboys, man, they're going up against the #1 offense in the league. And the Cowboys on the road, 18 points less. 100 yards less of offense, 100 yards less passing, and they're down 10% in the red zone. This is all on the road. They are struggling to beat these teams on the road. Hey, listen, this is a lesser of two evils. This is not an attack on the Cowboys because I'm a firm believer in the Cowboys, but they may have to go on the road opposed to Miami, who could be at home in the playoffs, so they have to prove that they can beat a winning team on the road today.
A lot of things have to happen, but both of these teams can have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, which makes this a very, very important game. Gerald talked about it. The Cowboys' defense have always given up points. I know we started the season talking about, it's one of those generational defenses and all of that stuff, but they've had issues stopping the run. They've had issues. Now, today, Miami could run that football, but Miami also wants to get Tyreek Hill to 2,000 yards. So he's going to need about 150 yards per game over the last 3. You know what I'm saying? So I'm expecting them to put that ball up in the air sometime. And that turnover defense that Dallas has can come in and start making a difference right there. But it's going to take that offense to keep up with Miami's offense. It's not, stop hoping that defense shut everybody down. Dak Prescott and that offense has to put up 30 points.
By the way, you said that they really want to get Tyreek Hill 2,000 yards. Is that is that really a big deal for them? I mean,
Oh, yeah, listen.
If it's being taken away in the game,
right.
who cares?
But you can't let him be taken away. And Mike McDaniels don't let you take him away. He is, that's what I was telling him. I put him on my Mount Rushmore wide receivers. And everybody said, "Wait, how can you put Tyreek Hill on the Mount Rushmore?" I said, let me tell you why. We all want an offensive passing game built around us. I want it around me. Jerry Rice wants it around him. Randy Moss gets it around him. We got a whole system built around this wide receiver. This is the first time this has ever happened in the National Football League. The whole system. You can't take him out. And yes, they're going to feed him because Mike McDaniels wants to make sure he's the whole heart and soul of that team. That's what's great about those two. The lion versus the cheetah. Both of them are doing all the talking for both of these teams.
Good point.
Where are you on that Mount Rushmore?
Well, I got Jerry Rice first, but as soon
Mặt này, mặt của người tuyết này lên trên cái chiếc quạt nhé. Thì các bạn sẽ đặt cái phần cái người tuyết vào đây và các bạn sẽ quay cho mình cái hình tròn nhá. Và cái hình tròn này thì nó sẽ là cái phần chiếc quạt của mình, đúng không? Cái phần hình tròn này thì nó sẽ phải cho cái phần người tuyết này nằm bên trong cái quạt này được nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ quay một cái hình tròn như thế này, hình tròn màu đỏ nha các bạn. Sau đó mình sẽ thử đặt cái người tuyết vào đây. Rồi, như vậy là cái hình tròn này nó sẽ vừa nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ đi cắt cái hình tròn này ra nhé. Mình sẽ cắt cái hình tròn này ra, sau đó thì mình sẽ dán cái người tuyết của mình lên. Cắt cái phần hình tròn này ra này. Rồi, bước tiếp theo nhé là mình sẽ đi mình làm cái phần tay cầm cái quạt này trước nha, sau đó thì mình mới dán cái phần người tuyết lên nhé. Các bạn sẽ cuộn cái phần màu cam này vào cho mình nhé, cuộn vào này. Cuộn vào đây. Thừa bên dưới này thì các bạn dán keo vào đây để cố định nó này. Đây như các bạn, đây sẽ là cái phần tay cầm của chiếc quạt này. Sau đó thì mình sẽ đi dán cái phần này xuống bên dưới của cái chiếc quạt này nhé. Đây mình sẽ dán cái mặt nào mà mình vẽ cái hình tròn lên bằng compa thì mình sẽ đỡ bị xấu hơn. Đây mình sẽ dán cái phần que này. Rồi mình sẽ dán nó xuống phía sau của cái chiếc quạt này. Đây mình sẽ có một cái quạt như này. Và bước cuối cùng như các bạn là mình sẽ đi dán cái hình người tuyết này. Đây mình sẽ dán lên trên cái chiếc quạt nha. Đây, các bạn sẽ dán keo hết vào cái phần người tuyết này cho mình. Rồi mình sẽ đặt cái phần người tuyết này lên trên cái chiếc quạt nhé. Đây, như vậy là mình đã hướng dẫn xong các bạn cách để làm được một chiếc quạt màu đỏ này, và bên trên thì có một cái chú người tuyết màu trắng rất là dễ thương như này rồi. Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi và hẹn gặp lại các bạn ở những video tiếp theo nhé. Bye bye.